afternoon, everybody. My name is Karen Bowling, and I serve as the Chief Administrative Officer for the City of Jacksonville. On behalf of Mayor Deegan, I want to thank the media and our city and partner agencies for being here to update our citizens. Mayor Deegan is returning to Jacksonville as we speak and will be back in town later today. She ended a personal trip early to be here to support the city in its efforts to prepare for Tropical Storm Debby. At 8 o'clock this morning, the mayor declared a local state of emergency. This is a necessary step to put protective measures in place to keep our community safe. Without this emergency declaration, those measures would not be available to us. Our Emergency Operations Center has been partially activated since Friday. Since then, we've been getting all the necessary steps in place so that when this emergency was declared this morning, we were ready. We've been participating in several briefings every day with the state of Florida and the National Weather Service, and we have built our plans around the data and information that has been provided to us by these organizations. And just to be clear about the forecast for Duval County, unlike some of our neighboring counties to the west and to the north of us, Duval County is not currently under a tropical storm watch or warning. As of now, this will likely be a heavy rain event, not unlike those we've seen in severe summer storms when flash flooding and the potential of hurricanes or tornadoes is possible. However, we continue to watch the path of the storm, and we're ready should the track move closer to our community. A couple of announcements. Due to the expected heavy rains and flooding, we are asking only essential city personnel to report to work tomorrow. City employees and our agency partners' employees will be receiving communication early this afternoon. And the Supervisor of Elections, Jerry Holland, has asked me to report that he has postponed early voting. That had been scheduled to start tomorrow. It will be postponed until Wednesday. So we have a number of experts here to answer your questions, but at this time I'd like to invite Al Sandrick, the National Weather Service Jacksonville, to provide us with the latest information on the storm. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon. Tropical Storm Debby is rapidly intensifying in the eastern Gulf of Mexico. We expect it to make landfall near midday tomorrow as a hurricane in northern Appalachia Bay. The hurricane force and strong tropical storm force winds should be confined to the Gulf of Mexico and the areas immediately along the Gulf Coast. However, as was indicated, very heavy rainfall in rain bands is expected to move across northeast Florida and the Jacksonville metropolitan area that could result in some flooding. Debby is expected to stall or move very, very slowly across South Georgia through the next 3 days. Depending upon its exact track, we could get into a situation where we have torrential rains come across the Jacksonville metropolitan area. We'll be watching closely for that possibility. But right now, heavy rain and flooding appear to be the primary threats. There could be isolated tornadoes associated with the rain bands as well, especially along the immediate coastline in St. Johns River. I'm going to now pass it on to Chief Ayoub from Emergency Management.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Andre Ayoub, the Chief of Duval County Emergency Preparedness Division. For months, I've been talking about being prepared for hurricane season. So I'd like to talk about preparation and what we've been doing at the EOC for the past 4 days. This is the time to make your last preparations before you go to bed tonight. Check your emergency supply kits, essential items that include water, non-perishable food, medications, flashlights and batteries, first aid supplies to last your household for several days. Have a plan with your family that includes evacuation routes, important contacts, and documentation. Know your evacuation zone. If you visit our JaxReady.com or use our JaxReady app, which you'll hear me talk a lot about, that will look up your address and understand whether your home is an evacuation zone so you can make informed decisions. Stay informed. Monitor trusted sources for information and official recommended actions. Sandbags. I know that's the hot topic. A lot of people talk about it. But in Duval County, it may seem like a simple solution to water inundation, but they provide limited protection against flooding. Sandbags are not efficient in severe flooding events. In addition, they can have environmental implications if not disposed of properly. Now, what we've been doing at the EOC for the past 4 days. The Emergency Operations Center has been activated. What that means that now it's staffed 24 hours a day with relevant participating agencies that have been notified and involved in this incident. No evacuation orders have been given, but however, residents should remain prepared and vigilant. Please take guidance from officials seriously. Now, when it comes to shelters, Duval County shelters that will be open by 5 p.m. today. And I do want to give credit to all our partners from Duval County Schools, JSO, JFRD, Red Cross, Department of Health. This has been really a huge task with the timeline that we gave them. So the 3 schools we're looking at opening by 5 p.m. today: LaVille Middle, 501 North Davis Street, that's going to be general population. Legend Center, 5130 Sutel Drive, that's going to be general population, special medical needs, and pet friendly. And Landmark Middle, 101 Kernan Boulevard North, that's going to be general population, special medical needs, and pet friendly. And lastly, I want to say residents in manufactured homes, older homes, or low-lying areas are particularly vulnerable to flooding and sustained winds. Consider evacuating to a safer location or designated shelter. Thank you. Now I'd like to hand it over to Fire Department Chief Powers. Thank you.
Good afternoon. First thing I want to do is thank our mayor and our city council for getting this emergency declaration done. You know, part of what we have to do is not just when we're facing damage, but in the pre-disaster, we have to get emergency preparedness measures put in place. And without that declaration, we could not get those things done. And that's things like opening shelters that Chief Ayoub's talking about. So again, I want to thank them for making that happen so we can do our job. JFRD is prepared. We've got our team members that are ready. Our firefighters are out on the street doing stuff at their stations, getting ready. And this is the same thing we're asking the public to do right now. Get your homes prepared. Get your loose debris picked up. Get ready for what's coming tonight. As far as the inclement weather that's coming, and our firefighters are doing that very thing. Tonight at 8 o'clock, we're going to be putting in 2 swiftwater rescue teams because of the expected rain amounts that we're facing. One on each side of the river that will be able to respond should we have an incident involving floodwaters. In addition, we're going to be putting 5 ERAT teams in place, strategically placed throughout the city, and those teams are there to do nothing but knock open roads should debris, falling trees or whatever block the road so emergency first responders can get down those. The last thing I have to talk about is the beaches and the water. We have spoken to our partners at all 3, at Jacksonville Beach, Atlantic Beach, Neptune Beach, and they are going to pull their lifeguards out of the stands tomorrow. We're going to do the same thing at the city with Huguenot and Hannah Park. We're not going to have lifeguards sitting in those stands. So I encourage people, please don't go get in the water because the lifeguards will not be in those stands tomorrow. And we don't need to have to send first responders into the water to try to rescue folks while the storm is going on. So with that, I'll turn it back over to our Chief Administrative Officer, Karen Bowling.
Thank you, Chief Powers. And so at this point, as you can see, we have Sheriff Waters with us. We have Vicki Cavey, the CEO of JEA. We have Dr. Bernier from the Duval County School System Superintendent, and also Chris from JTA, and Nina Sickler, who is our Public Works Director. So if the media has any specific questions of any of those experts, just say the word. All right, we're going to introduce the sheriff. Sheriff Waters.
Thanks, Karen. So your Jacksonville Sheriff's Office stands ready. We are now working our 12-hour shifts, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. We have our officers ready to respond with JFRD, with our Public Works, with our JEA to make sure those things are handled, and of course, answer your calls for service. So we are ready and prepared for whatever is necessary. Thank you very much. Karen.
All right, just a closing thought. We have 630 City is open and operational, and they are available. All of the staff there ready to answer citizens' questions. So if there are no other questions at this time.
I'll ask one question,
Yes,
Karen.
ma'am.
I know in the past we've seen some issues as far as trees getting removed from workways in public areas in a speedy manner. How do you prioritize, which trees are going to be moved at what position? And like you're saying, how can residents reach out to make sure that those trees are removed?
Yeah, so Director Sickler has been working on that over the last few days, so I'm going to ask her to respond to that question.
Yeah, we both can do it, actually. There's two parts of
Yep,
what
there
you're-
are two parts.
There are two parts to what you're asking. I'll address the first part, and that is, if a tree or a power line go down, we're asking the community, if there's not a life-threatening danger with that, to please don't call 911, please call 630 City and report that. That way it doesn't clog up our 911 operators that are handling emergencies. And then the other piece of that Nina will handle.
Right, so after the storm has passed, if there is debris removal, our teams will be on site with our contractor to make sure that that debris is picked up in a timely manner. Those will be handled, again, after the emergency road access team is complete.
Nina, do you want to tell them about trash pickup, which is always like one of the #1 calls that we get to 630 City?
Sure, absolutely. So at this time, based on what we're seeing from the storm, we expect to have normal garbage, recycling, and yard waste pickup on Monday. We'll be monitoring if conditions during the day deteriorate and we need to cut that short, we will do so. We will be monitoring for Tuesday. Right now, we haven't made the decision to discontinue pickup on Tuesday. We expect to make that decision around noon tomorrow. If Tuesday's pickups are discontinued, our plan will be to move Tuesday's pickup to Wednesdays in the city core for our in-house staff. And for those who are serviced by our contractors, we'll shift everybody by one day. So if your day was Tuesday, it would shift to Wednesday, Wednesday to Thursday, et cetera. But again, we haven't made that call yet, and we'll be working with this team and the administration to determine which way we'll go, and we expect to have an announcement tomorrow around lunchtime.
Let me add one thing that I neglected to mention a little earlier. Please, with the amount of rainfall that we're expecting or possibly getting, I would ask the public to please be mindful of standing water. Do not drive through standing water. You don't know how deep it is. You don't know where your ditches are. You can't see. So please be mindful of that and pay very close attention. Thank you.
All right, well, with that, I appreciate you all being here and helping us get the word out to the public, and we'll all be around if you have any individual questions. Thank you so much.